Well, good evening, all. Ira Epstein, and here we are with your metal market wrap-up. And this wrap-up is for the evening, as we're now talking on Thursday, the 14th of November, 2024. And the time is I'm talking to you about 6:40 p.m. Central Time. An event took place today, and Fed Chair Powell was speaking in Dallas at a conference in a prepared speech. And as soon as he said that the Fed is in no hurry to cut interest rates, the game changed. I was watching, I saw it break on the news wire, went to the markets. At that point, gold was at 25.85. It dropped back. I watched, let me turn this way, bonds and notes, especially the bonds, they were nicely higher. They gave up everything, and all the markets are down tonight on that news. If you looked at the dollar, it was barely higher, and it ended up gaining, but it was higher than this afterwards. In other words, remember, they settled these markets. You get a settlement at 2 o'clock, but they trade until 4. That's why you're seeing that you're down 22.5 points in the euro and other markets at this point. So, look at the stock market. We'll look at the charts in a few minutes as we go into the financial video. But I think you've now seen the end of, it took 8 days from last Tuesday until today. Think about that. Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, when they announced who was going to be the next president-elect, and it was Trump. I believe it was Wednesday morning for me. And that's why I say it's 8 days. For the market to have gotten through this, and now I think we're going to get back to more or less normal type trading. That's my instinct on it, and I've been through these things before, so I can only tell you, you look for an event that changes things. That doesn't mean you're a top picker or a bottom picker. That phase of this market has come to an end, in my opinion. So let's go and take a look at a few things, but first, let's understand the data you have tomorrow. You get advanced retail sales coming out at 7:30. The New York Empire Manufacturing Survey for November comes out at 7:30. U.S. October import-export price data comes out at 7:30. And at 7:30, retail sales. You think there's going to be bumps in the market? Then they'll give you a break for 45 minutes. The Federal Reserve is going to come out with its monthly industrial production and capacity utilization numbers at 8:15. Business inventories at 9. And for you grain traders, something for you at 11 o'clock, you're going to get the crush numbers, okay? So let's take a look, like I said, at the chart action and get a feel for what's going on. When we look at gold, I want to remind you, I thought this market might pull back. I said it. I didn't know if it would do it or not. If it fell apart, it could get back to the 18-week moving average of closes. It's exactly where you're at. The market's had one of these vertical price rises that came out of left field at it, and the market is now, it's still dropping away. The swing line is still with lower highs, lower lows, but you're into the first major support. I mentioned this yesterday. The market fell there today, and tonight it's still hanging at the 100-day average. The Bollinger Band, you're starting to move to the right. So I'm not good enough to pick a bottom, but I am telling you your first number part where the market's trying to stall the break and maybe end this break that you've had in the market. That doesn't mean it's suddenly going to turn super bullish. Why? If the Fed's going to be longer for keeping interest rates higher for longer, well, that weighs a bit on the gold. At the same time, it keeps the dollar well bid. The other side of that argument is you've overdone possibly this break. The other part of the argument is we had that before as we were trying to get into who was going to win the presidency, if you'll remember, and the dollar kept rallying and interest rates were rallying, and yet gold was able to get up here. If you don't believe me, look at how that time frame, and you go back and you look at that news. So do I think this market's gotten itself overdone? Yes. Do I think this market's just going to go down to 24.46? It could. I'm not thinking it's going to. I think you're in a zone where you're finding your support. And what I don't see is the market embedded yet. Now, it could do it. Let me give you an example here. Let's see if we can get this to come. I can't do it. I forgot to do something on the chart. It could, but it can't happen right now. So oversold into the 100-day average, into the Bollinger Band. This is where I think the pros at this number, the 100-day average, are saying, okay, we've had a heck of a break. We've come down $250. I think the market, maybe I'll take some money off the table. The gold-silver ratio is still staying with gold stronger than the silver. I think you're still fighting the battle right here in silver at the 100-day average and the Bollinger Band. I know you'll tell me it got down under it, but you pulled back at the end of the day and you were right back against it, and you're trying to get there again tonight. I think you're in that zone. That does not mean that I'm saying be a buyer, but if you're short, be careful. Now, if you embed, you're still going to get sellers at these numbers. And if the red line closes over 21, well, that could open the door that you're going to get a good size rally. Probably not up to 32, 36, but get enough rally where this number can fall down and prices go up and they grab at each other. In the copper market, you keep running the lower band. I had just talked to you. Could this market get itself down into the area of the $4 level? Just want you to see. You got down to $4.15 a pound. So I think it did its thing. Here too, oversold market, down hard. I don't have any friendly moving averages here for support, so I'm not as comfortable as I am in gold and silver that they're going to try to find a bottom right here. Here I'm getting bearish crossover where the 18-day average just got under the 100 and the 200. It's right here. Both. And you're lined up now in a very bearish situation. You have the 18-day average under the 100, the 100 under the 200. That's a classic bearish situation. So on rallies, I expect a lot of resistance in this market. It would take China to do something big to surprise the market or say to the market, they're finally making the move we want to see. I haven't seen that happening yet. In the platinum market, you might get that same pattern here. That's why in the metals, while I'm saying I think that you're down to an area where you might stop going down in the gold and the silver, other parts of the market are a bit scary. Now, you haven't had that crossover like you had in the copper market here, but it could happen. Be aware of that. You've come down, you've moved into the right-hand side of the Bollinger Band, but you have the embedded reading. So this market is a candidate to get sold on good rallies, and I think the trade pops out if you get a reading over 21. Last in the dollar index, I'm about at the point where I think the market could give you a problem. You've had 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row over the upper band. You rarely go beyond 5. You're not embedded. So I'm right at that point where I'm going to pay attention to it. If you think this has been an easy time to trade, I think if you've been watching the market, you're probably saying to yourself, it's a hit and run market. It's not a trend trading market unless you were in the market prior to the election. And if you weren't, now you've got markets that are starting to end and unwind those Trump trades that we had. And now the market's starting to pay attention to PPI, CPI, what are they doing? And a Fed talk. When a Fed, the head guy at the Fed is saying, we're in no rush. Is that code word for we're not going to cut rates as often as you think? Is that code word that when the dot plot's going to come out in, December 17th or so, that we're going to see that the members are doing something different? That could be. So if you want to get and keep up with us on this, it's pretty simple. If you haven't tried our research, you can have a free trial to it. Subscribe, go to our website and go to research. You can get in there and do it. Here's the free offers. It works just like a cart that you've seen on so many sites. You click off the ones you want. It puts it into a cart. At the bottom of the page, you put in your name, your email address, and we'll get everything out to you. I'm Ira Epstein. It's going to be a lot of fun now. Now the game, I feel better about it because I think we're at a new phase of it. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great evening. I'll catch up with you tomorrow.